This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
What's going on, everybody? Guys and girls, welcome back to another edition of the SmackDown Review right here on the WWE Podcast. As always, I'm one of the hosts of this show, Michael Ritter. You can find me on Twitter at Michael5Ritter, and also one of the hosts of the Football Function Podcast, available on all of your podcasting platforms. Joining me on today's episode to talk about the Go Home Show and SmackDown, or talking about SmackDown in Puerto Rico, San Juan, Puerto Rico, the night before Backlash. John Carrasco joining me here at Big Speaker on Twitter, BIGG_speaker. John, how we doing?
I am just chilling, man. Of course, trying to get into the little rhythm of talking and everything like that. Kind of feel like I'm a little off, but we'll get to this, rolling. But other than that, man, it's been a good week. Of course, looking forward to, the weekend. Got some plans, I guess you could say, family-wise, cookouts, stuff like that. So, yeah. Something to look forward to, but other than that, man, ready to break down this little live show.
Yeah, I'm ready to as well. The draft has come and gone.
Yep.
SmackDown's roster. There's some bright spots, but I mean, the women's division looks pretty nice. You look at the top for sure. Obviously, they gave us Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, so we can't. I mean, the whole bloodline. But I'm gonna be honest, man. Raw was hitting.
Yeah.
Dude, whenever they drafted Seth Rollins after we made a pick, whenever they drafted Finn Balor and, the Judgment Day after we made a pick, definitely was not a massive fan of that. But, hey, what can you do? Gunther was not looking forward to losing him. I mean, I get it. IC title going over to Monday Night Raw, we get to US. But when you just look at it and you look at it from a perspective of Gunther for Austin Theory, it's a little bit like... It's like getting you think you're ordering a cheeseburger that's about to be extremely juicy. It's got all the fixings on it, how you want it, bacon cheeseburger, and it comes out and it's only ketchup. Oh. I mean, would you not be a little bit like, I still get my cheeseburger, but dude, like, come on, I was expecting, give me some flavor here,
No, we getting that back right there.
Oh, you're going back to the register. Well, unfortunately, where we stand, we can't go back to the register and say, hey, take this. We would like to get that. If we could, I would absolutely love that, but. Nonetheless, some good things happened. Obviously, Monday Night Raw, I was able to tune into that, catch all that good stuff. I am looking forward to Backlash as well. So, yeah, there's a good weekend. And obviously, the Celtics play on Sunday. They're playing right now as we speak. I got that paused. They had a 4-point lead whenever I stopped it. So I'm probably going to finish it after we finish up here. So I'm going to try to stay off my phone. Hopefully, I won't be spoiled during the show. But as you know, I was finishing up dinner whenever SmackDown started, so I wasn't able to catch the first 11 minutes. However, you were in here and you were able to have your eyeballs glued on that TV and watching SmackDown. So, SmackDown airing on Cinco de Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody out there, especially you, Jonathan. And obviously in Puerto Rico. So, this episode airing May 5th, 2023. How did it start? What did I miss before I... Sorry, I had to move this other microphone here. What did I miss before I was able to get up here?
Well, to start this off, the way they had like a little drone, like fly over the stadium, fly into the like concession area and then into the arena, definitely dope.
Okay, I may have to stop you there really quickly. Sorry about that. That's the beauty of the live review. We saw the Usos and Solo Sikoa show up on the screen, and we had to talk about, or at least see what they were about to talk about, and obviously it was some pretty good stuff. We'll get to that here in just a little bit. But back to what you were saying, John.
Yeah, basically, just like the little drone thing coming and everything like that. Good little camera view, get to see like basically like the whole arena, people-wise and everything like that. So that was definitely cool. But to start us off, man, we get, of course, Rey Mysterio comes out.
Major pop?
Major pop.
Okay.
Definitely good. LWO.
That stage.
Yeah.
That stage looked a little bit, I'm curious. I don't know. I predicted it's probably going to be the Backlash stage. I don't know if it's in the same arena tomorrow night. It makes sense. Like they treat it like a WrestleMania or like a TakeOver or something that they do like that. they've done it like for even SummerSlam. Like if SummerSlam's in Brooklyn, sometimes they'll have that SmackDown before it in the same city. So I just wasn't curious, or I wasn't sure, and I was curious if this is the arena for Backlash. So that's on me for not knowing. But yeah, Rey Mysterio comes out, gets that major pop.
Yeah, and then of course followed up, we get the LWO. I mean, of course they have like the Eddie Guerrero little tribute song.
That new theme song,
like that.
I like that. Yeah.
You know, definitely hearing that. You know, you hear the crowd.
But I was a big fan of their other theme song. You know that.
Yeah, definitely like the graphics and everything that they had on it. Yeah, so but I mean, good change for them. Definitely fits like the setting. You know, Puerto Rico and everything like that. So yeah, they're definitely doing their thing on that part of it. But other than that, they just come on down to the ring, and then of course Rey Mysterio, he starts just talking Spanish. Oh, another thing, Samantha Irvin. It's good to hear her over here on this side.
Limited.
I know.
Better enjoy it while you can, bud.
Gosh, man.
That adds on to the draft. That's why they didn't draft Michael Cole.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna suck. But yeah, we do got her for right now. So I mean, hearing her voice, I was kind of okay. Good round of applause right there, because I'm not ready for Matt.
I don't even know. Matt Rome?
Yeah.
Mike Rome. Mike Rome.
Okay, yeah. But other than that, yeah, I'm not ready for him to come over. I was like listening to him on Raw, and it just does. I don't get the energy.
Rated our superstar.
I just don't get the energy. I mean, his voice is up there, sounds good, but I don't get like the connection to it, I guess you could say. So I mean, like I said, Samantha Irvin.
I'll be honest. You were on the Samantha Irvin train before anybody was.
Hey.
And so I'll admit that, because I soon jumped on after. But I will be honest, you were on that before I heard anybody else, actually point out how good she was, how visibly pleasing she is. She's good to look at. Very pretty woman. So, yeah, I have to give you your credit there. You scouted it well.
I was about to say, I think I've done pretty good on all my new, like even our draft and everything like that. So I'm pretty proud of myself.
We need to go back and listen to that, because I do think that you might be onto something there. Although you saying that The Miz was a A+ draft pick for Monday Night Raw off the air, that was a little questionable there.
Oh my gosh! But you're happy for Cameron Grimes, huh?
No, well, we can disagree there, right? But anyways, so you said, man, go ahead, continue.
They come to the stage. Ray, he's basically getting the crowd going and everything like that. Of course, hyping up Zelina Vega for her fight and everything, and of course, Judgment Day, their music hits and everything. They come down, interrupt, and basically, like, Ray, he's just telling Dominic, what happened at WrestleMania, and of course, what's gonna happen Backlash type stuff, So there was a little Spanish going on. I know it was kind of tough for me to pick up, but there were some words that I know that Rey Mysterio used, and the crowd, I mean, they definitely tell you how and what kind of like direction he was given to that, I guess you could say. So yeah, it was definitely some good stuff to hear right there. But other than that, man, Rhea, she tries to jump in, says that she wants to fight or wrestle Ray, and then Ray kind of gives her that little off look, I guess you could say. And
Rhea wants to wrestle Ray?
Right, yeah. And that's why I was like, man, she needs to stop doing that type of stuff. I
better eat a 619.
I understand that she's, powerful little creature or whatever you want to call her, but other than that, she needs to stop with the challenging men, I guess you could say.
The charades.
Yeah.
Stop with the shtick.
But Dom, he just leans over the shoulder. He was like, how about y'all fight us? Referring to Rey Mysterio, Zelina versus him and Rhea. Of course, Ray, he accepts it. Judgment Day, they start to walk out. Dom sneaks back in, slaps Rey Mysterio right in the face, does his little roll out. And that was the end of that part right there.
Damn.
What do you think?
Well, I can tell you right now, I'm glad to hear that, even Puerto Rico was booing Dominic out of the building. And a little side note, just from, where we are here on the show live, because we are watching it live, and we'll obviously catch you guys up to where we are in due time, but the crowd looked like they are into it. Like, the crowd looks like they are a very live crowd. Just, they were doing the hand moving with the Street Profits.
Street Profits, I was about to say.
A lot of other things as well. And they had that different Usos chant that I haven't really heard in a while. That Usos. You could tell like the crowds were like, or different sides of the stadium were kind of it was a little bit of like a dueling chant, but together. So I like that. But yeah, as far as Ray and Dom, I mean, I thought this was going to be a tag team match tomorrow at Backlash. The Damian Priest versus Bad Bunny. I thought that they would throw the Mysterios in there just to make it a little bit more of like a, hey, like it's Backlash for WrestleMania. It's not WrestleMania Backlash, and that's the beautiful thing is Backlash in of itself. We know that it means from WrestleMania. You know, we don't need you to tell us that it's WrestleMania Backlash because in of itself we understand it.
Right.
You know, we're smart. So I kind of that's one thing I do appreciate that they're not throwing that tag on there, but I just felt like it made sense. You know, like whenever Chris Benoit, and I always reference this. Chris Benoit beat Triple H at WrestleMania 20 in the triple threat match. Shawn Michaels was in the picture at Backlash because that was the thing for the whole month. We heard how big of a fluke it was. Triple H was telling us it was a fluke. You got lucky, whatever. And he ended up going one-on-one with him at Backlash and made him tap out with the sharpshooter, I'm pretty sure. He made him tap out with the crossface at Mania. Okay. And then he got him with the sharpshooter at Backlash. I could be wrong. It could have been the crossface as well. But for some reason, my mind's telling me that he used two different submissions then. But either way, you know, I had to bring that up because that's one, you know, I guess that's a moment that what Backlash stands for kind of stuck out to me. You know, like we don't need to know. Even Mick Foley and Randy Orton had a hellacious match on that same card, that same Backlash. Because at that same WrestleMania, the Triple H lost, Evolution, which is Randy Orton, Batista, and Ric Flair, had a 3-on-2 handicap match against Mick Foley and The Rock. Badass match. And then that next, pretty much everybody else was factoring out except for Orton and Mick Foley. They had a rematch. Dude, go back and watch that. It is the most hellacious. Like it's a match that Randy Orton still talks about like damn near made his career. Just because it was
I remember watching that one for sure.
Yeah, it impacted him for sure. But either way, I mean, I get on a little bit of a loop. That's what happens whenever you keep these vintage pay-per-views. You know, you bring back a pay-per-view like Backlash. You start getting those nostalgic memories that you got whenever you were a young kid. And, so that's why, you know, I wouldn't mind seeing pay-per-views like Unforgiven and many others get brought back. Right now, they're showing us a little bit of a screen or a little bit of like a camera angle of Puerto Rico. And good God, this is a beautiful aesthetic.
It is, yeah.
Like, I can only imagine what the superstars are looking like. They're going to an event to do their job, which they're getting paid very well to do. And this is the view they get? Like, when they go to their hotel room, like, this is the, like, I imagine what the food tastes like. You know? Like, I bet this is an absolute great time to be a pro wrestler right now. But continuing in chronological order in the show, we got the OC next, right? Didn't they have a match? Okay, we get Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson versus the Viking Raiders here. This is actually when I came in to start watching SmackDown. And I'm not sure what the beginning of the match was like, but the end of the match, a lot of interference, a lot of outside, you know, shenanigans going on with Valhalla trying to, you know, trip up the OC and Luke Gallows to be specific. And then Michin obviously comes in, jumps off the steps, does a little drop kick, takes Valhalla out. That leads to a momentum shift in the favor of OC. AJ Styles on commentary, actually. And OC get the win here. They defeat the Viking Raiders, which, and this is their first night on SmackDown. That is one draft pick that I'm happy for. That we get AJ Styles. Are you kidding me? And the OC just work well with him. You know, they're just like, I don't know. They're a sauce. You know, it doesn't matter what sauce you use. You could use ranch. You can use honey mustard. You can use buffalo sauce. As long as you got your chicken tenders, that's all that matters, you know. And AJ Styles is the chicken tenders to this whole little group. So I'm definitely glad that we got him. They start off strong. They are going to have a little bit of like a Judgment Day role, I feel. I'm not sure if they're baby faces right now. It seems like they are going against the Viking Raiders. But I do feel like even if they are, they could just have a we're going to wreck shop around this brand type of approach. And you could just, I guess, see that kind of playing out for the OC here on SmackDown. You got any comments on that match?
I mean, it was just good to hear AJ Styles, you know. I mean, of course, it's been a while, I guess, his injury and everything like that.
They didn't make his return as big of a deal as they should have on Friday. He was gone for months.
Yeah.
So on commentary, I'm glad they kind of alluded to it. Like, they actually gave him a little bit of a chance to say, hey, I was freaking gone for a long time, and I'm finally back, you know? So.
Yeah. So, that was a good thing right there. And, of course, man, just Ivar, man. He just impressed me, like, how he just throws his body around for being such a big guy, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, anytime, I guess, watching them now, I mean, at the beginning, it was kind of, like, stale. But I guess I got their feel for what they're doing now, and I just enjoy watching them, I guess you could say. So, other than that, man, good match, and I guess welcome OC.
Yep, welcome OC. After that, I believe Bianca Belair, she came out.
She had a little promo.
Yeah, she came out, had a little promo talking about she's very close to being the longest reigning women's champion in the modern era. She has had a phenomenal run. I actually, if you look back to October 2020, now I wouldn't advise anybody to go back and listen to my old episodes when I first started. That's one thing I would never point you in that direction. But if you just so happen to, late October 2020, dude, I'm pounding the table for Bianca Belair. I call it right then in October that she's going to win the Royal Rumble. She goes on, she wins that Royal Rumble, goes on to WrestleMania, defeats Sasha Banks, I believe, is who she won her first championship against at Mania. I want to say that's right. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like it is. I really think it is. But either way, the prophecy was fulfilled. And since then, just been kicking ass. Other than one night when she lost to Becky Lynch at SummerSlam in like a record time, all that did was set her up to go win another championship at WrestleMania, which I was at, and that was against Becky Lynch. So yeah, just some great stuff from Bianca, and she just reminds us of that in that promo where she pretty much just is telling us, hey, like I'm the longest reigning champion here very soon, and I'm sorry Cody Rhodes' music's hitting right now. Pause what I'm saying. We'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. We had to listen to what Cody Rhodes had to say. We will also get to that here in just a little bit. Back to where we were. We're trying to catch up really quickly. Bianca Belair, she comes out to the ring. She reminds us she's creeping up on that streak where she will be the longest reigning champion in the modern era. But she doesn't have a long time to actually pump us up because Damage Control comes out. Her opponent, tomorrow, I believe, isn't it tomorrow? Okay, I wasn't sure if it was on the card or if it was like one that they're advertising for a later SmackDown or something. But that's badass. It's on the card. Yeah, Io Sky versus Bianca Belair for the championship. Ain't no way in hell she's losing. You know what I mean? Let's just go ahead and be real. But either way, Io came out. They as in Damage Control, mainly Bayley, was, giving Bianca a little piece of their mind. Telling her how she's pretty much going to lose that championship. She probably said a lot of other things. Bayley, you don't really need to go word for word on her promos. She does a lot of bantering, a lot of saying nonsense, so it is what it is. But the 3-on-1 does eventually happen. Damage Control because of, Bayley shoving Bianca Belair into Io Sky, knocking her over. Ends up being 3-on-1 until she's rescued, if you want to call it that, by the current women's tag team champions, Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. What you think about just this little segment here with all the women getting involved?
Well, I mean, I guess the attraction is there for me. I'm getting a little bit more interested for it, Okay. But other than that, man, it's just tough for me to kind of get behind Io Sky just because she doesn't talk. Oh. That's the only thing. Of course, I mean, she's good in the ring and everything like that. Like I was telling you off air, I wish they would play her like entrance music.
Oh my gosh, she has some of the sickest music too.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just.
I mean, her.
Like at least some type of personality needs to come from her for me to get the connection, I guess you could say, because I feel like it's just like just her, just body coming to the stage, does her thing, walks away.
There's a big difference in Damage Control Io Sky and regular independent coming out by herself Io Sky. Just the whole vibe, her whole, energy is different. Her entrance, the way she does the little thing, she'll come out.
Oh, dude, I forgot about that, yeah.
The strobe lights. She
looks like kind of drunk.
Yeah, she does that whole thing. She's just a completely different character by herself.
Yeah.
And then, just the lighting. Oh, my gosh, Scarlett. Sorry, that just completely distracted me. It's very hard to do a live show whenever Scarlett is coming out. Hopefully they just get the camera off her. Okay, thank you very much. Now we can get back to business here, talking about Io Sky. And the difference is the strobe lights. That's where I was at. Just like the whole lighting in the stadium. Dude, that'll give you a freaking seizure if you're not careful. Because of how wild it is, I don't know. That's just one of those WWE production things that is a little hardcore, I will say. But what do you got something to say?
Yeah, other than that, man, I mean, just kind of go back to where I was.
Oh, dude, sorry. I'm freaking all over the place.
Yeah, no worries. But, I mean, other than that, man, I mean, of course, ready for this match and everything like that. But the whole Bayley thing, I mean, I've talked to you about this off air too, man. I'm kind of waiting for that kind of like switch up, I mean, turn, I guess you could say. But other than that, listening to the mailbag earlier today, there was like a scenario to where Io Sky won the belt, Bianca Belair turns heel, Bayley turns on Io Sky because she's jealous that she won, you know. And I was kind of with that. So I'm kind of hoping maybe that kind of plays through. I mean, maybe just like high hopes with whoever had mentioned it. Sorry, did not catch the name or anything. But other than that, man, I'm kind of in that direction.
That makes sense. It really does. I could see that scenario. I mean, because they got to swerve us at some point. I imagine they want this to be a big, a pretty memorable pay-per-view in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, and another thing, of course, Charlotte, she is babyface.
Is she?
Correct. Well, even if she's not, see, that's where the whole turning heel.
She's a tweener.
Would make sense.
Her character's so reality-based. It's almost like Brock Lesnar.
I think she can be meaner or more mean than what she is being nice.
Sure. Charlotte? Yeah.
No, or Bianca. Sorry.
So you think Bianca's babyface?
No, yeah, Bianca's babyface.
Okay, did you mean to say Charlotte?
No, I was saying Charlotte being, or I was asking if Charlotte was babyface.
I don't believe so.
Okay, see, maybe that might kind of be a left turn right there, but other than that, yeah, there's a whole little scenario that I'm trying to follow right there, I guess you could say.
I got you.
I want to see it play through.
Okay, so after the Bianca Belair segment, I'm trying to think what happened after that.
We get the little video package with the Usos.
The backstage?
Yeah.
Was that before or after the Montez Ford Street Profits versus Imperium match? I think the Imperium match was first. We'll go and talk about it. One thing I will say, Street Profits win this. Montez Ford splash from the heavens. They pick up the win here, and that's whenever we mentioned that the crowd was going crazy with, the hands going with them. But one thing I noticed, Giovanni Vinci had a nice moonsault off the top rope where he just did like a backflip.
See,
it was
that's
beautiful.
The only thing that I can picture on the screen from that.
Was the backflip off the top rope?
Crazy.
Okay, yeah, it was nice, dude. I was just gonna, because like Chris Jericho used to do, like, it was called the lion salt, where he would like jump off the top rope or jump off the middle rope. He'd like place his opponent perfectly in a spot in the middle of the ring, and he would just run to one of the ropes and just do a backflip off of it. That was seriously one of my favorite moves. And whenever Brock Lesnar would do the shooting star press, just some superstars doing a backflip looks so much better than others. I don't know why. And Giovanni got it down, man. It's not every day that a backflip even catches your eye in today's wrestling. With Ricochet and everybody who's doing moves similar styles as him. I guess it just kind of jumped out seeing that. But yeah, the Street Profits get the win, and then we get the backstage segment with the Usos. No worries. This is pretty good. I believe Jimmy was trying to hype him up. Solo and Jay talking about their 6-man tag match tomorrow night at Backlash. And I think he asked if they were ready or something along those lines. Basically, Jimmy asked a question, and Solo pretty much ignored him. And then Jay kind of got up in his face a little bit and was like, hey, our brother asked us a question. And he's like, I heard the question. All I know is I'm going to do my part tomorrow, and you guys better do yours. And then he walks away, all while looking at his thumb that he was taping up. Man, I just want to say one thing. They go through a lot of tape. Solo and company every single week he's just going crazy. I got one of those bad boys right here. Not the medical tape, but hey, I'll tape my thumb with this bad boy and see how far we get. If my arms weren't so,
Definitely gonna pull some hairs off.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. But nonetheless, what'd you think about this little backstage segment with your boys, the Usos?
Oh man, to me it's starting to get a little bit like to where it's funny, the whole situation, like you were saying, Jimmy asking the question, and like at the end of it, Jimmy's kind of like, what did he say? Why you have to go and do that?
Yeah, you had to ask a question. Yeah, you had to.
So stuff like that. It's just like they're
kind of takes away from them eventually the seriousness of the moment. Whenever they do eventually get turned on by Roman,
just
it's
looking at
Solo
like facial expressions, man. It's just the way they go about doing it. It just makes it a little bit more funny and something to watch, I guess you could say.
I just don't know. I hope they don't do it on some random SmackDown. As badass as that would be, as cool as that would be for you and I to break down, just think how sweet that moment was at the Rumble whenever Sammy did it.
Dude.
We could get another moment like that at a pay-per-view where it's built up in a championship match with Roman Reigns. The Usos are there. They got one last shot to try to help Roman. And Roman still gets the win, but the Usos come very close to costing him the match. And that's whenever it's pretty much, there. Because even then, Roman Reigns didn't lose his title. He had his hand held up at the end of the match. And, excuse me, another distraction just hopped on the TV. We get a nice little throw from Karrion Kross. We'll get to this point in the show as well. But back to what I was saying. Roman Reigns had his hand held up at the end of that match at the Royal Rumble against Kevin Owens, and he still, it just wasn't enough. And, obviously that moment happened. A little bit different circumstances. Sami Zayn is the one that technically hit first with the steel chair. But still, I think, Roman's going to be victorious against somebody, and the Usos are going to come very close to costing him the match, and they're going to end up paying for it one way or the other. But I don't know. I mean, they are bringing a little bit of comedy into it. It's mainly Jimmy. That's one thing I've noticed. Yeah. He's kind of, I don't know what it is, man. Just things haven't been the same for Jimmy, like with me. Like, I don't want to connect it to that, but damn near since Naomi left. Like, straight up, that's just, Jimmy, I'm going to be honest, and I'm not one that's, likes to point out wrestlers' physique. But whenever you have a twin brother and he is very clearly in the shape of his life, next to you, it makes you look a little bit, like you're slacking a little bit in the weight room or the gym, however you want to phrase it. But either way, I don't know if it's just, I don't want to speculate. But Jimmy's always had a little bit of out of the ring stuff, whether it's getting pulled over under the influence or all that stuff. There's things that Jimmy's done that Jay necessarily hasn't. So it's almost like I feel like Jay may have a longer tenure. They almost, they're a group. That's one thing I do want to, get out of the way immediately is they are better together. Eventually, we do want to see main event Jey Uso have a run, right? In order for him to be the one to dethrone Roman and fulfill your prophecy, he'll probably have to split from Jey. Tag teamers ain't main event in WrestleMania in a singles match. Now, we've seen, obviously tag team, Sami Zayn and KO just main evented, but still in a singles capacity for a world championship, they're going to push Jey in a singles style if that were to actually play out and he was the one to win the Rumble or something like that. But
I'm ready for that.
I don't know. I've noticed that Jimmy is, while Jay's looking damn near the best he's ever looked, Jimmy looks damn near the worst he's ever looked, in my personal opinion. And it's just because, at one point, Jay was the other Uso because Jimmy was the one that he stood out in the ring. He was way more polished on the mic. Jay didn't talk for a long time. He had no personality. That's why whenever he came out in 2020 is like, holy hell, who is this guy? And he looked different, and he still is looking better and better every week. Just one of those things. Just obviously, you don't want to speak anything into existence or anything like that, but Jimmy, I just want to monitor that, and I feel like one way or the other, he's probably going to be the one that takes the worst of the whole turn whenever it eventually does happen. With Roman and Sikoa. But either way, it's definitely going to be Sikoa who strikes first. Solo's definitely going to be the one who puts his hands on the Usos, and then Roman Reigns might come in there a little bit afterwards. But that's all speculation.
Yeah.
Clearly our minds are going, different areas, and you never know what's really going to happen. But yeah, man, the Usos as such a great tag team, for over the years, you hate to see it come to an end, and it's not coming to an end. But I just feel like that they're almost past that now. They're past just being in the tag team division. And if they go back to being in the tag team division, doesn't it feel a little bit like a demotion? Not like big time, but they were in the main event picture here for WrestleMania and just a lot of big moments for them over the past couple of years. And I don't know. That's just kind of, I haven't really thought about it until now. So all these thoughts, the Jimmy stuff, all that, it's all kind of coming out as I'm thinking of it for the first time. And I'm just like, whoa, it's... the Usos are about to get at least a Samoan spike and a spear. I could say that.
I was about to say, the only thing that kind of gets me is, if you notice, they have been losing.
Oh, yeah.
A lot.
A lot.
You'd figure they'd get, maybe here, there. But, no, it's been, loss type stuff. So, I don't know. It's kind of weird to see that because it's a pretty much a quick transition, like you were saying. They were pretty much main eventing. Now they're losing to Matt Riddle, that's who Jimmy lost to on Raw. And it was just kind of, I get it from Matt, you're supposed to give him the little push, everything like that. But then again, you're putting him against the 600-day tag team champion, that they were pushing on them, So it's kind of weird just to see them losing just right off the bat, to me, I guess you could say.
No, yeah, I totally agree, and that's some of the signs, that we're talking about. But nonetheless, the Usos, they're, at least on Solo watch, for sure, to say the least. But what happens next in the show after the Usos and the Solo stuff? I believe, because we already talked about the Imperium versus... Gosh, I can't even remember who the hell they went up against. Street Profits. I don't know why the hell I couldn't remember that. But yeah, Usos versus Street Profits. Okay, so back to where we were here in the order of the show. We're almost caught up to where we are. And this is almost like not a live review. It's still live, but it's slightly delayed. We'll call it that, the slightly delayed SmackDown review. But either way, Cody Rhodes comes out. And, I'll say whenever he ended this promo, it looked like he was bursting out of his suit. That's how passionate of a promo this was, how meaningful what he was saying, meant to him, talking about how Brock Lesnar still has not explained to him why he did what he did. And obviously, well, first things first, back it up. He opens with the typical, what do you want to talk about? But he said it in Spanish.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty nice.
That was creative, a nice, nod to where they are. Shout out to Cody for doing that. But yeah, he's talking about how, Brock hasn't really explained. And I'm going to be honest, I kind of wonder that too. But I'm so used to WWE not explaining some of their decisions and just going with it and, making us fill in the blanks that I kind of just didn't really think about it. Like, I was like, hey, Brock attacked him. It's Brock Lesnar. It's not like he does everything that's, completely logical and makes total sense all the time. Like, no, Brock's going to go off the rails every now and then. And I just thought maybe that was another scenario where he did just that. But Cody Rhodes is, he's bringing it to our attention. Hey, he still hasn't explained nothing to me. Like, I still have no idea why he did that. I guess I'm going to have to beat it out of him tomorrow at Backlash, which is wild to say. But nonetheless, he says it. And he's pretty passionate about, because he's going to Monday Night Raw. He's going after that World Heavyweight Championship. But he's really passionate about Brock Lesnar and beating Brock Lesnar tomorrow, how that's going to be pretty much a massive step into getting him back on track to quote unquote finishing the story.
Yeah, needs it.
Do you agree with that?
I do. I think that I've said it before. I think Brock Lesnar for Cody Rhodes is that stepping stone to get him to make that feeling of, I believe.
It's a good notch to have in your belt.
Yeah, Roman Reigns, because they've went back and forth so many times, and you figure, Roman has always beaten Brock, but if you get somebody that can beat Brock, put him up against Roman Reigns, of course he already lost. But you come back a little bit smarter, a little bit more critiqued, I guess you could say, and you never know right there.
Yeah,
like
for
I said,
sure.
Cody's chance.
Yep, definitely. I am looking forward to that match tomorrow. It's going to be probably the one that has me most invested into the TV.
Okay.
Because I want to see how. What's he going to do to get an edge on Brock? Because realistically, he's suplexing Cody Rhodes through the roof. So I want to see how they tell us the story in the ring. Right now, as we're watching SmackDown, before we tell you about the Karrion Kross versus Shinsuke Nakamura match, they're highlighting some of the picks that SmackDown made. One pick that I'm not seeing here, Nikita Lyons. Yeah, and I was pissed when she didn't get drafted. I wanted her on the roster. I'll go and say it. Tell me, Pretty Deadly? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Whenever they came in and had that fight.
I know that you're really high on this group, but...
Oh, my gosh. You better stop it.
That's one that I was a little bit like, because I don't watch NXT, but, just in terms of their gimmick, we'll see if it can translate to the main roster. I have my Grayson Waller drafted to SmackDown. Did not know that. That's a good heel to have on the roster right there. I do believe you're going to enjoy having him. But I wasn't too ecstatic about the Pretty Deadly in terms of the NXT draft picks that we made. Just, we don't really need all that. I feel like our tag division's all right, for what it is. In an era where they completely throw the tag division out the window, I don't know. I just feel like maybe there's a better team on the division. Ooh, Cameron Grimes, your favorite. Let's see. Sorry about that. We had to see what Cameron Grimes was talking about because I'm going to be honest, he looks completely different than the last time I saw him.
Okay.
On NXT, just completely different look. But I think he might have some. I know we kind of joked about it at first, but he might have a nice little career here on SmackDown. Just from what he brings to the table as like a charismatic character. Yeah, he does have a little bit of personality to him, and you like to see that. I mean, he has more personality in one of his fingers than Dominic used to have when we first started.
Dang.
Now Dominic's starting to get a little bit of personality. We're about to see him, I believe. Isn't he going to have a mixed tag match here with his father? Rhea Ripley and Dominic versus Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega here as the main event. But before we talk about the main event, we're going to talk about the match that happened right before that Cameron Grimes segment. Cameron Grimes versus Baron Corbin, because Baron Corbin came in there and started running his mouth, saying how, oh, you were the last pick in the draft. Well, Baron Corbin didn't even get drafted, so why would you even freaking bring that up if you knew you didn't get drafted? That's just a pretty stupid thing to say, but nonetheless, we get that match made official right there by Adam Pearce, Baron Corbin versus Cameron Grimes in his first match next week on SmackDown. But before that, we get Shinsuke versus Karrion Kross. Now, that was the match that obviously we were watching, and it was a tough match to stay focused on the show. Just talk about the other things that were going on while watching that match as well. Just some phenomenal wrestling, and obviously Scarlett, she should run for president. I would vote for her. I really would.
All the way up there, huh?
But she is definitely a commodity here, and Karrion Kross, he didn't win tonight. Shinsuke Nakamura gets him with the Kinshasa, but his future is bright. I've been hearing some pretty good things about Karrion Kross and what Triple H thinks about him and what he could do here on SmackDown. So I think maybe I was a little bit too down on the roster. Because now that I'm thinking about it and I'm just actually looking at some of the pieces we got, I think we might be all right, for what it is. And we still got Roman Reigns. You gotta appreciate that. Because, I mean, if he would have got drafted to Raw and then we had this roster that we got now, I mean, I'd still be here on the SmackDown review, but I'd be like, man, this is going to be like breaking down the 2007 Dolphins. Come on. Who wants to do something like that? But either way, Shinsuke Nakamura gets the win. I love his black suit that he's coming out with. It has a Power Rangers vibe to it, as well as his theme song is what it always is, a masterclass. Just some beautiful. I love that. But what you think about this match?
Honestly, I'm, of course, on the other side of this. I mean, I'm more of the
Karrion Kross
theme song and everything like that. I mean, like I said, just the black and white, Of course, like you mentioned, Scarlett being
the whole presentation.
Eye candy, I guess you could say. Yeah, I mean, it kind of just, it all comes together, let me say that. But other than that, man, I mean, good match. I mean, Karrion Kross, I don't know, man, just the way that he, presents himself and everything like that. I mean, definitely on board with him. So, yeah, like you're saying, happy that he's over here on SmackDown still. But other than that, man, Shinsuke, him going over to Raw, definitely bad thing, or I wouldn't say a bad thing, but a loss, I guess you could say.
I think that's what really gets me is the order. If you would have just told me, if there wouldn't have been a draft, if they just split it up and said, all right, this is the SmackDown roster and this is the Raw roster, I'd be like, all right, cool, whatever. But I think it's just the fact that Raw kept picking badasses time and time again, while SmackDown was not necessarily doing that.
Yeah, bottom of the bucket type stuff. That's what I kind of feel. I mean, of course, trying to bring in the NXT, get some new faces and everything, but the pick before, Raw and then ours would be just mind blowing.
I don't know who they drafted after SmackDown took Edge, but I was like, all right, cool. We get a part timer who's only going to probably be around for maybe a year, what's it called? Raw immediately took somebody like Finn Balor. Or they took that could have been when they took Seth Rollins. Because like I said, they were taking people immediately after SmackDown took someone who, I mean, great pick, but it's all about finding value. Get back to draft season really quickly. It's all about finding value in that draft slot. But nonetheless,
I mean, I still think we're still
good
pretty
roster.
star heavy. So I don't think we.
The women's division is very good.
Major step
Dude,
back, but
oh my gosh, I want that so much. Look at that. It's a WCW Monday Nitro limited edition entrance stage, pretty much. But that's the thing is, it's they need crowdfunding for Mattel to create it. So pretty much you have to buy it before because they haven't made that yet.
Oh, okay, I get it.
So yeah, pretty much they need a bunch of people to buy it in order for them to actually invest. But I hope that they did it because man, that stage is so badass. Because what I want to do is I want to get just a glass case, with shelves that you can open them up. Maybe it has a little thing either way, and I'm going to put all my wrestling action figures in there. I want to have a shelf specifically dedicated to WWE. I want to have a WWE ring in there with all my WWE guys, with Vince McMahon in there. and I want to get another shelf that has that WCW Nitro stage, and I want to get all my WCW guys in there. NWO. I want to get Goldberg in there, Sting, an old school Booker T. The Steiner brothers. There's Diamond Dallas Page. There's several WCW guys that I would mind putting in there. But yeah, that's kind of what I want to do. I want to have 3 shelves. Obviously, the WCW, WWE, and then that bottom shelf. I don't know if I want to just put miscellaneous things in there, like I don't know, like things that you can get. Like I got like trying to think, like maybe a championship belt in there, like actually not hung up on the wall, but like actually connected together to where you can set it down and actually view it and have different things in there. But I don't really know. I could have that as like a third little area or a third shelf just for like legends. Like Jake the Snake Roberts, get him in there. Maybe Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, got this bad boy right there, obviously. But back to SmackDown. Was there something that happened backstage in between the Shinsuke Nakamura match and this one? I know they did some Backlash promotion.
It was the Baron Corbin thing.
Okay,
with
gotcha.
Cameron Grimes,
So we are finally, now that we're at the main event, we are finally caught up in the show. So now it is a live review where we're live reviewing this bad boy. But let's see here. Oh, yeah. Roman Reigns going to be at SmackDown next week.
Okay.
So the next seed will be planted, at least, or depending on what happens at Backlash tomorrow night, this could be the moment. And it could end up happening on a SmackDown. I don't know. They want to make us watch SmackDown. They want us to be interested.
I want to say it'd be the show after, So, I think it'd be worth it, I guess you could say.
For sure. All right, we're going to watch this mixed tag match. Young Dominic Mysterio, Rhea Ripley, representing Judgment Day, taking on LWO, represented by Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega. So, we're going to let this match happen. Whenever it is over, we'll be back to tell you who won and how. All right, pretty entertaining main event, if I should say so myself. Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega do pick up the win. However, like you would expect, the Judgment Day tries to put a beat down on him after the match. They're doing their thing. They're doing what they got to do, hitting him left and right. You think it's going to be just an all-around 3-on-1, 4-on-1 beat down, except here comes Bad Bunny and the rest of the LWO. They go out there. You would have thought it was Stone Cold Steve Austin, by the way that crowd reacted. Okay. They popped. They absolutely blew the roof off that place. And obviously, LWO takes out Judgment Day. We get a little bit of a face-off between Damian Priest and Bad Bunny. Dominic Mysterio ends up taking a kendo stick shot, but other than that,
was pretty nasty.
They get out pretty clean, and we get the face-off. And then that nice little entrance music drops for the LWO as Bad Bunny and company stands victorious in the ring. What were your thoughts on the main event and your excitement for tomorrow?
Well, this one is definitely Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest, another match that I'm looking forward to, just given the what's at stake for, the situation and everything. But other than that, man, I felt like it was a good match. Didn't feel like they kind of did too much to kind of throw us off to, like how you were mentioning, we're going to see this again tomorrow, Zelina Vega and Rhea. So I felt like they kind of did it to where it was enough on both sides, Ray getting his in with Dom, of course, and everything. So, like I said, didn't feel like they gave away too much, but still felt like it was a good match.
Yes, sir. I'm looking at this commercial, trying to recognize some houses. But either way, sorry about that. It was a local commercial. I agree with you, though, bud. And just in terms of my excitement for tomorrow, for just a regular pay-per-view, it's coming off the heels of WrestleMania, obviously. Some of these things are pretty big matches
right here.
I'm definitely looking forward to this. It's going to be exciting. Hopefully you'll come join over here. Who knows? I know that, days get wild. It's late at night, so, you never know what the day is going to have. But the invitation is out there if you wanted to, come watch some Backlash over here. But I do want to thank you. Obviously, that does it for John and I here on the SmackDown review. On Cinco de Mayo, great episode of SmackDown, and obviously great episode of the SmackDown review, per usual. And you got any shout-outs, any plugs, anything like that before we sign off?
Oh, yeah, of course. I definitely want to give a shout-out to Patreon, Discord members, and everything like that. football function, of course. See y'all doing y'all's thing over there. I've been actually getting a lot of questions about a football podcast, so I've definitely been giving out some good, reviews to you. I'd say suggestions, I guess you could say, whenever I'm hanging out with some people and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely pretty crazy. Like, just talking about like WWE podcasts, you just kind of spin off, start talking about other stuff. And like I was saying, people ask me about football podcasts, and like I said, I recommend yours. So yeah, definitely want to give you a shout out right there. Hope y'all guys are doing good on y'all's end of it. But other than that, man, just want to give a happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody. If y'all are going out, be safe and everything. Of course, the weekend, I'm looking forward to some good food tomorrow and everything like that. So yeah, definitely have something to look forward to. But other than that, man, close it up like that.
Yes, sir. I'm actually looking forward to watching the Celtics game here pretty soon. Hopefully, I don't know what's going on in real time. I haven't gotten any spoilers, but I'm hoping that I can, go down there and be a happy camper. But other than that, I'm looking forward to the pay-per-view, looking forward to the other Celtics game that's coming on Sunday. It's a pretty juicy time in my life right now. I already told you all my teams are got good aspirations. I'm not taking it for granted, not counting my chickens before they hatch, just pointing out that, hey, look at that. Somebody vandalized the school that we actually do. Sorry, this is completely real behind-the-scenes stuff. We're just a little commercial because obviously this show comes on Fox. And after the SmackDown's over, you get the local Fox, whatever's next. And just so happens that news comes on immediately after SmackDown. Yeah, I just saw something I recognized on the TV screen. Kind of threw me off. But either way, like John said, man, thank you guys so much for joining. Hopefully you guys all have a phenomenal weekend. Enjoy Backlash, whatever plans you have. Mother's Day's coming up, May 14th. This is your warning. This is your little bit of a heads up if you haven't already. I'm terrible at this type of stuff, forgetting dates like that. That's why I'm doing this, is because I needed to be reminded, and I know that other people probably need to be reminded as well. Doesn't make you a bad person. A lot of stuff's going on. Life gets the best of you sometimes. So, nonetheless, this is your reminder. Go do something nice for your mom if that's something you want to do. But with all that being said, you guys all have a phenomenal weekend. Walk passionately in the direction of your dreams, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.